In this episode, I'm going to look at an Anran indoor-outdoor 1080p Wi-Fi security camera. We're going to go through the setup. We're going to set it up and test it. Let's check it out. This is just a quick video to show the Anran indoor-outdoor Wi-Fi HD security camera. So I got this to demo. If we look on here, we'll record onto a micro SD card. It has enhanced night vision, HD, and intelligent motion detection, and clear two-way audio. Here's our specifications. So it has a microphone and speaker, so you can talk to the person on the camera. It will support up to 128 gigabytes of local storage. Alarm notification, get instant alerts when you're on the go, so it has push messaging. And it's 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi connection. And cloud service is available. I always just show off the local storage. So in the box, okay, we'll screw the antenna on. This is where the SD card would go. On the bottom of the camera, there's a sticker, and on the top, we're going to remove the sticker, only because that has the serial number of it. And with that serial number, you can log in. So I'm just going to take those stickers off for the demo. At the end of the cable, there's an Ethernet port, power port, and a reset button. So if you mess things up, you can reset it. This button's got a little cap that you can close up to seal it up so that the button doesn't get wet. It does come with hardware, so that if you're planning on using it as a hardwired camera, because this can be hardwired or wireless, if you're planning on running a Cat5 line out to where the camera is going to be located, it comes with a weatherproofing kit for the connector. So you bring your Cat5 into here, and then once the Cat5 is plugged in, you can screw this on and it will seal the connector up. That goes on like that, and then it locks. And of course this it has a gasket and a rubber grommet for the cable to fit through. So that way you can hardwire this camera or use it wirelessly. For this demonstration, I'm going to use it wirelessly, just because I don't have any Cat5 set up right now. But you have the option of either hardwiring it or using wireless. The camera uses the Cam High app, which is the same app that my pan, tilt, zoom camera that I've got uses. So using the same app, I'll be able to access both cameras. So right now this is the app here. This is the Cam High app. This is accessing my existing camera, which is mounted up in a tree that I put up there for testing. This one here, of course, I've got pan, tilt, zoom. This one here, see, somebody's driving up the street right now. But this other one here is just a fixed camera, but it's accessed by the same app. My Wi-Fi signal to where that camera is exception of the week. It's about minus 85 dB because it's right out at the street, and my router is in the middle of the house, so the signal is on the weak side to that camera. We're going to pair this other camera up to my existing router, and we're going to get it working on the app. So the first thing you do is plug the power in, and the camera will boot up, and it'll go into what's called access point mode. And once it goes into access point mode, we'll be able to access it, connect to the access point that the camera creates, and use that to bridge the camera to my existing router. So once the camera is booted up, it's entered access point mode or AP mode. We're going to see one called IP cam with a number. In this case, there it is. So I'm going to connect to it, and the default password is 01234567. So I'm going to enter the password in, and I'll get a message telling me that I don't have any internet connection while doing this. It'll tell me that internet may not be available. There's my warning, but that's fine. because now I'm going to open up the app and load the camera and then pair it to my network. So let's open up the app. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tap Add Camera, and I'm going to scan the QR code that was printed on the sticker that came with the camera. So I got to go and open up my camera here, or I can add the UID manually by just entering the information. I'm going to scan the barcode that was printed on the camera. I'm not showing you guys this because obviously if I show you the barcode, you'll be able to get into my camera. So I'm just going to scan the code. Obviously I'm blocking that so you guys don't see the password, but I've added the camera. It's got the ID from the camera, and I'm going to tap the check mark. And the next thing it'll show that the camera is online. And again, I'm covering this up so you guys don't see the ID of the camera, but it tells me the camera's online. So now I can click the gear little icon and go into the setup. I tap that, and now I'm going to go in, change the password for the camera, and I'm going to set it up for my Wi-Fi network. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll click Wi-Fi settings, and I'm going to pick my Wi-Fi network by clicking Wi-Fi Manager. And now I got to pick a network that I'm going to connect it to, and I'll put in the password for that network. And as you can see, it has now gone online. In fact, both of the cameras are online. So if I click on this new one here, this is now going to show the picture from this new camera. And that's how simple it is to set this up. And if I close down this camera, I can select my other one. Now the manual here states that to install your micro SD card that goes in the bottom of the camera, it says some could be purchased with a pre-installed micro SD card. And mine says here will support up to 228 gigabyte SD card, not included. Okay. Anyway, let's take a look at where the SD card would go. This is also the speaker, it looks like. So this should just be a hatch, and the SD card would go inside this little hatch here. And of course we drop the screw inside the camera. And oh, what is this? This looks like it has an SD card in it already. It does. This has an SD card in it. What size is this little SD card? This looks like it's well, it doesn't say. I'm going to go put this in the computer and see whether it is an SD card or whether it's just a dummy, because it doesn't. It has some writing on the bottom, but it doesn't say what it is. Let's go figure out what this SD card is. Yeah, it's a 32 gig. It shows as 29.5 gigabytes free. And there's files on here. When I was playing around with the camera, it was recording picture and sound from what I was doing here on the workbench, encoded as a .264 file, which is pretty standard for security cameras. So we'll put that back in there. Bonus, 32 gig built-in memory. There's a little gasket around here to keep moisture out. And this is metal. This it's not plastic. This whole body is made out of metal. There you can see the camera that's inside there. That's kind of neat. I don't have to take it apart. We can see what's inside. Anyway, let me put the bottom back on this. Tuck the wires back in. Now I just got to find a place to put this, and we can do some tests with it. As a reviewer, I tried to be objective. Find the positives and the negatives of everything that I review and give you guys an honest opinion of what I think. And my first reaction to this camera is, I mean, it's a nice idea, and I'm sure it performs okay, and we're going to find out once I put it into service. But the thing that it bugs me is this mount that it is attached to. It's got to be the most useless. And I hope the supplier of this doesn't take this too personal, but this is something that they really need to fix. This mount is really only good if it's mounted from a ceiling, like under a soffit or whatever, because then you attach it and you would screw it up whichever way you want. Now the problem with this is the cable only exits one way. So if you want your cable to go back towards the wall this way, this cutout should be at the back so the cable can go out there. Otherwise the cable is going to come out like this, and it's going to go around and then tuck into your wall or whatever. That's the first limitation. Wall mounting is out, okay? Because if you put it on a wall, it's going to look straight out. You can't angle the camera any way. It does not angle one way or the other, and it only goes straight. It does not tilt down. So if you mount it on a wall, it's going to be looking straight out. You can't angle it down at your driveway. That's kind of useless. It has to mount under your soffit. If you mount it under your soffit, then yes, you can point it down. And to angle it, you would just put it where you wanted before putting in the screws. That, I find, is a limitation on this bracket that I really can't ignore, and I have to point that out. Now you can mount the camera upside down and invert the image on the software, and then it could mount to a wall and point down and point to straight up or to straight down, but it still doesn't have any side-to-side motion. You would have to decide what way the camera wants to go before you fasten the screws. And say that's what I don't like about this bracket, whereas other cameras that have got the ball mount, you can point them anyway, which is, I think, a big improvement over this, but it gets the job done. Let's go install it and check out the picture. So this is Playback. Grab my drill, grab what I don't need. I'm going to turn the lights out. I've got all the lights on here, so I'm going to turn out all the lights, and then we'll see what this thing looks like in low light. There, you can actually see here one of the infrared LEDs from one of my other cameras. These are hardwired ones, but this is just something that's hanging off the roof there. It's reflecting back in the camera. But there's what it looks like in pretty much total darkness. So on the PC, I'm using a P2P client, version 6.4.5.1. It's an IP camera client, and I use this for that pan tilt zoom camera, and it also works with this new camera. And I get both cameras on the screen at the same time. So this client will allow you to display 4 cameras at once. As you can see, here's my front and my back camera. My front camera is the pan tilt zoom one, and here's the new one that I just put in the back. That's the client here, and I say I can playback images. I can playback video on the client as well on the computer, and download to the hard drive any clips that are stored. A 32 gig on this camera here, a 32 gig memory card will store about a week of continual recording. You can also set it up so that it only records at specific times when there is motion detected. But I've just been running it full-time recording just to see how long it'll go. And a 32 gig card will typically store about a week of recordings. To playback recordings on the PC, just select Remote Playback, and then select the camera that you wish to view. In this case, if I select the back camera, and then I will select the date. I'll do a search, and it'll show me a list of the files that have been created since I started making the recording, and the files are all logged with their date and the start time. Okay, here it is now. It's totally dark in the backyard. As you can see, the only light that's on there is actually from a couple of infrared emitters that are part of the existing security system. But there's no light like those infrared lights you see here. They're actually shining towards the camera. They're not providing any illumination for this camera here. All the illumination that you see on the screen here is generated from the emitters on this camera, because the other ones are obviously facing the other way. So as you can see, totally dark back there. There's no light whatsoever, but the illuminators or the emitters on the camera itself provide total illumination, and it is dark back there. So here's a picture of it shot off the screen of my computer during the day. As you can see, it has some pretty good detail, and the nighttime shots were great. So let's take a look at some playback. I'm just going to use my phone here for playback. If I select video, it'll give me a list of files that have been recorded. if I just tap on a file, I'm given the options of playback, download, or cancel. Now download is going to download the file to my phone, so I can make a copy of it on my phone. Or play will just play the actual file. So this is playing back what was recorded a little bit earlier on this camera. They say you can do the same thing on the PC. You can download them. They download as an H.264 file, so it ends in the file extension .264. There are software programs that will allow you to read those files. Unfortunately, I can't import them into Adobe Premiere. It doesn't support, even though it is an H.264, it's a slightly different extension that's not compatible. So the files would have to be converted over to like standard MP4 files. I don't have the software to do that myself, and there are online apps that you can download and convert the files, but I'm not going to bother with that. Anyway, that's Playback. It's about 4 o'clock when I made this recording. It's just starting to get dark, but as you can see, the picture off here is very good. And if we look at another file here, that once it gets dark, if I pick one of the later files, here's what it looks like now that it's totally dark. I think you'll agree that the picture off this camera is actually not bad. It gets the job done. Anyway, I just wanted to give you guys a quick look at this little camera, and the setup on this, to say, was a snap. It takes literally 5 minutes to set it up over Wi-Fi, and it looks pretty good. The only limitation I found is that that kind of goofy mounting bracket, which I'm not a big fan of it. If you're attaching it to a overhang like I have here, it works fine. You know, it goes up. It's all metal construction, and I think this could be a winner. I'm going to leave this one set up for a long-term test. So if we have any problems with this one going forward, I will certainly report them here. If we go back into our alarm settings, motion detection on, we can draw a box by just selecting either left, right, or all areas, right? And we can draw a box as to where we want to record. So if I drag this down like this, now I can set it up so that this is my point of interest, and instead of recording all the time, it can be set so that it only records when something moves in that area. If I want to protect this whole area here, I can just drag the box bigger. Now it'll only trigger if something moves in this area here. I want to drag it back down just to the corner, right? So that way, if I only want to protect that area and ignore any animals or anything that are running around on the grass, I can set it up like that so that it's only going to trigger if someone walks around the corner or if someone comes in on this side of the house. It'll record. And I can also set how sensitive I want it to make it down here. And then once I've done that, I just click apply, and that sets up the motion detection. If I go back to action with alarm, okay, I can set it up to record it on the SD card. Now it'll record the any motion that happens in that that box I've just drawn on the screen. I can also set up email with pictures, and I would set up an email address, or save pictures to an FTP server, save videos to an FTP server. This can all be set up so that you get push notifications. Personally, I'm not going to use that with this camera, because myself, I find push notifications are more of a headache. I guess if there's nobody there and there's not going to be anybody around, push notifications might be nice so that you get notification on your phone if someone goes into a protected area. I may set it up with this camera just because this is in my backyard and there's not going to be anybody there. But one of the problems I find with the motion detection is that you get a lot of false alarms, especially if there's any traffic or anything that's moving up and down the street. If you've got it in your front yard, for example, like headlights from a car can trigger it. So you're getting notifications at all hours of the night that there's something going on. So I just haven't bothered to set it up. Also, when you're on your phone, if you want to zoom in, you can just pinch to zoom in on the image. Anyway, that's a quick look at it. This video has gone on too long as it is. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one real soon. Bye for now.